Islam. Face the east, 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace. Freedom.
And
justice.
justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night. And by day. Through a holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Prophet warns all Muslims, governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Drew Ali. Islam. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you would be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but would sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah would bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Play this thing. I forgot about this since we talked about it. So there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work that has to get done. Right? The savior of humanity, Noble Drew Ali, wrote, "In this electrified age, men are racing into this life without complete knowledge of where they are going or what the end will be. When riches seem to be their only pursuit to be obtained anyway and at any cost, when selfishness, avarice, greed, and lust dominate their very being, when humanity in general is left at the mercy of those who have no mercy in them. It is truly wonderful and astounding to see one come into this mad human drama for the sole purpose of saving humanity, losing all sight on those things worldly and yielding absolutely to a cause higher than has ever been attained. The picture is the likeness of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is serving humanity." There was a book by Patrick J. Buchanan called The Death of the West. The Death of the West by Pat Buchanan. And this is some things out of the book. America is God's crucible, the great melting pot where all the races of Europe are melting and reforming, wrote Israel Zangwill, the Russian Jewish playwright, in his famous 1908 play, The Melting Pot. But the immigration tsunami rolling over America is not coming from all races of Europe. The largest population transfer in history is coming from all the races of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and they are not melting and reforming. In 1960, only 16 million Americans did not trace their ancestors to Europe. Today, the number is 80 million. No nation has ever undergone so rapid a radical transformation. Clinton said, "Today, largely because of immigration, there is no majority race in Hawaii or Houston or New York City. Within 5 years, there will be no majority race in our largest state, California. In a little more than 50 years, there will be no majority race in the United States. No other nation in history has gone through demographic change of this magnitude in so short a time." So the idea of the melting pot, the concept of everybody's coming here and then they're going to come here and this is going to be the place where cultures blend and whatever like that. No, people are coming here and they're sticking to their national principles. There's no melting pot going on. The only that idea is the same European psychology as calling people colors and all that. It's the exact same thing, right? Because they know that their time's over. The largest population transfer as far as immigrants are from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Latin America is America. So they're not immigrants, right? Africans been going from over there to over here. Asians been crossing the Bering Strait coming over here. So this is really showing you their ending is at hand. Their time of rule is shifting to whoever is next in line that's going to pick it up. Right?
So when you're saying everybody's coming here and sticking to their national principles, I was talking to somebody and also doing, and they're mentioning how they're Dutch. So they're mentioning how the Dutch, like the children, went to like their own Dutch school,
Mm.
and they never really intermingled, like mixed with the Italians or the Portuguese.
Mm.
So like they would always have the rivals, high school games and stuff, because all the Dutch children were in one school. And you know, they would tell me, the person was telling me how they took the children from once, like they would recruit children from like the public schools and just put them, try to get all the Dutch children,
Yeah.
Dutch nationality,
Yeah.
into that Dutch school. So yeah, but you can see that too with the Roman, with the Catholic schools. It's mostly Italians that go to those schools, right?
Mm.
That's their realm, right?
Mm.
So yeah, they're sticking to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Peace. Islam.
As like China, what you were saying, as soon as you go like Fort Hill, you see all of these different schools from like what do you call it, Hebrew, Iranian, like all the different Jewish schools there.
Mm.
So they have their own school that they run actually.
Islam.
Islam alaikum.
Right, and like you said, they're not shipping from that.
Yeah.
Because if anything, why wouldn't they come here and just be part of the indigenous schools,
Right.
right? They come here and start their own stuff with their nation, bring it over and do what you gotta do, right? Not mixing with indigenous.
Yeah. Millions have begun to feel like strangers in their own land. They recoil from a popular culture that is saturated with raw sex and trumpets, hedonistic values. They see old holidays disappear and old heroes degraded. They see the art and artifacts of a glorious past removed from their museums and replaced by the depressing, the ugly, the abstract, the anti-American. That they watch as books they cherish disappear from the schools they attended, to be replaced by authors and titles they never heard of. The moral code that they were raised to live by has been overthrown. The culture they grew up with was dying, is dying, inside the country they grew up with. In half a lifetime, many have seen their God dethroned, their heroes defiled, their culture polluted, their values assaulted, their country invaded, and themselves demonized as extremists and bigots for holding on to beliefs Americans have held on for generations. To make us love our country ought to be lovely. In too many ways, America is no longer lovely. Though she remains a great country, many wonder if she is still a good country. Some feel that she is no longer their country. We did not leave America, they say. She left us. As Euripides wrote, there is no greater sorrow on earth than the loss of one's native land. There is no greater sorrow on earth but the ones of lost native land.
It sounds like they're getting that karma. Where it's like, everything they try to take away from us is like it's not happening to them.
It's happening to them.
You know, and it's like they want everybody to feel sorry, but it's like they know. Like
You reap what you sow.
Yeah,
You reap what you sow.
Everybody knows what it
You reap what
is.
you sow.
This whole thing of people, you know, not adapting and all that stuff. It's really just some like, you know, you really think about it, like, bro, these people are just at the end. Like, really thinking about it, these people are just kind of just realizing what's going on. And this generation right now, I feel like they've been so distracted and so on this thing of I'm Canadian and I'm an American citizen and all that stuff, and they completely forgot what their ancestors did because I guess they just didn't want to remember it.
Is it white people?
I'm talking about the Europeans. Europeans, like a lot of these videos that I watch, it's a lot of Europeans complaining, talking about how, Canadians, Canadian conspiracy videos. You know what I'm talking about? Like Canadian conspiracy videos.
Yeah.
They'll talk about how Canadian dream it's not Canada anymore, or nothing's Canada anymore. What is this? And they're all mad.
Yeah.
It's just like, just kind of laugh at it, where it's just like, but what about these residential schools? You guys want to, like switching names of land and all that stuff,
And you don't know the whole time.
you know? It's a lot of, it's just, I don't know, it's a lot to talk about. But, just my point of view. Just got crying right now.
You say they're more or less complaining about the problem, and they're pretty much the problem.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Exactly.
They're complaining about the thing, and they're the thing that's the problem. Like,
That's because when they say Canadian, they're thinking European, Caucasian. And now they're complaining that it's a brown country, You go to the bus, everybody's brown. You go here, everybody's brown. Everybody got some melanin. When it wasn't like that, when it was mostly them, or we were here, but you didn't see us, And now we're here in greater numbers and we have a little bit more access and stuff like that, but they don't think that we should have that. It's a problem now,
There's always been an issue with the people who call themselves Canadian being at odds or creating this political, evil person that we can all gang up against. It's whoever they've been recruiting into the country the most lately. It's always had this influx of slaves. It's always had the people who are going to come to this place and do the jobs that no one else wants to do for the pay that no one else will take for that job.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they just don't like to see them. They want them to do it, but they just do it someplace, do the job, but don't let us see you. Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it also adds to the fact that they had a head start for so long, and now they're in a position where they have to compete now. Because now you have the Pakistanis, they're starting their businesses. Everybody in general, they're starting their businesses, and now people are starting to see this so-called white supremacy, if you want to call it that.
Well, they're starting to realize like their financial situation not being backed by anything now. So it's like they have to go and reach out to all these different nations. Like you're saying, it's like they have to go to Indians, they have to go to Arabs now. So we'll get finances and all these other things that are going to help them fund part of their economy now.
Mm-hmm.
But even on that level, like today, that's just not the case. Back in the day, I remember some of the old heads telling me, coming up here was really a come up. You get the whole package. You get a whole bunch of benefits.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And nowadays, those benefits are just not around anymore.
Yeah.
I remember some old heads saying that you come out of high school with a certification.
Yeah.
It's something. Nowadays you have to pay thousands of dollars. You have to go thousands of dollars into debt just to go and not work in a factory.
Yeah.
Or work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
People from far coming over here talking about, I was a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was,
I was a surgeon.
I was a surgeon.
Yeah.
I was this, and then they're over here at McDonald's.
Engineer and all this, driving cab or whatever. Yeah.
So they're realizing that.
Yeah.
But what's that saying with, they'll say the Negro, they're not worried about the Negro.
Yeah.
The European will say we're not worried about the Negro.
Yeah.
And now they're realizing, there's Moor's waking up and, because, everything was about nationality first was the word of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all this influx of people coming from different nations and they're working together as a nation. Like you said, the competition, they're working for a little nothing, right?
Yeah.
So now they have something to worry about because everything's coming back to their nation and all around the board, right?
All around them.
The Negroes are waking up.
All around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that,
Before they weren't worried, right?
yeah,
Now worried about the Negroes. Negroes waking up now, right?
Yeah. I mean, and they're still not worried like that,
Like that.
but they have bigger worries.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the people that are coming here from other places that are on nationhood are making them look like the fraud. You know, because everybody else is dealing with what their nation is, and then like you hear them talking in the thing. They say, "Oh yeah, America this and Canadian and whatever." Well, no, it's British, French, German. Like, why are you playing around? You know. So all these all these situations happening, then they have to always keep trying to do something else to, keep the game going. So now they have just January 10th. Now they have the Declaration of North America, and
Right.
this U.S., Canada, Mexico alliance thing. Not that they didn't have that before, but they're reinforcing this idea that it's over. So our thing is, well, what are we going to start doing now that it's over again? You know what I mean? You know, in 29, stuff crashed with Drew Ali.
Right.
And then we established and then got him out the way, and then stuff fell. They said, New Deal, they're going to start doing this new thing. They're creating the buzz again. We fixed the problem. We're a country again, whatever the case is. Everything under a fraud, right? Talking about Walter Cool, but over here dealing with the whole thing of Canada without a constitution. Is it a country? Is it a colony? Like, what is this thing? How is it a government if it doesn't have a constitution? How is it presenting itself? How does it have Charter of Rights? You know what I mean? When it's not applying to people, because nobody sanctioned this. Who of the people said, yes, we want this is what we're gonna call it, this is what the flag's gonna be? All this is just people made up some stuff and everybody jumped on what these people made up. Right? Some years ago they prorogued Parliament few times, shutting down Parliament. Stuff's closed and all that stuff. Nothing going on there. Doors locked or whatever. Stuff's done. It's been done. Right? And again, we're caught in this realm of, what should be our activity? What should be the things that we're doing that mean something to the nation? You know what I mean? What things are we doing? Right? And you get to the point where you realize the only thing to do is assisting in the uplifting of the fallen. Because without them, all we have is this clipped version of sovereignty that we can't exercise to its full percent because we're not at our full percent.
When you say fallen humanity, you're talking about the womb, right?
The womb, the sons, the daughters, anybody who doesn't know, anybody who's unconscious,
Because you said it's like flip sovereignty, right? Because in essence, we have so much males in this,
Yeah.
And so we're all the male and females, right?
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without the females too, right? So
That's
another problem.
I told you what my position is. Once the males get their stuff together, females will come.
That's a fact.
That too.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But anyways, from my perspective, I just lost that train, but, I go back to the quote that nature made. Tomorrow, to get your check, you have to call yourself a Moor, you'd be a Moor tomorrow. Absolutely, so this is all by choice.
And also by interaction, because if you've never heard the word of noble strategy, you're never introduced to it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Which again, goes back again to the issue of it's on our side of the nation.
So the light bringers have to share that light.
And all of them, it's something that I don't know at at the rate incompetence is rising,
Yeah, that's my desire though too.
yeah, at the rate incompetence is rising, the ones who know better sort their stuff out.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
Because to wait for them is sort of self-defeating, right? To say, well, let's go assist them is self-defeating, because we already know we're gonna go tell them about some birthrights, and for the 2 minutes that we're talking, they're down. Then after that, they're going back to whatever it is that they're dealing with, right? So the ones who have the knowledge have to be the ones to get things going in the direction that we want to see things going, right? And that's gonna take, when we do the cheer, everybody has their hand in, and then we're waiting for the guys, hey, you know what I mean? You gotta come too, and because we need everybody's energy for the cheer. It has to be in that place, in that direction, because look at what they're doing. They have their North American Union establishing and setting up. This is something that they're presenting right now. This is January 10th.
So we gotta put it in a writ to that, we should.
The declaration of, well, and then the other side of it is that
Absolutely.
some stuff has been put into them,
Well, put it back in again.
right? Yeah, right. So
You never know what you put in might not have stopped some shit back then. So that's what I mean about being active though. You gotta start being active on all types of things. Back to what our friend said this morning about, you get up in the day, you have a bad day, you do that for a lifetime. What if I get up tomorrow and do some opposite shit?
Yeah.
Do some shit that I don't usually do and see what happens.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's what we're looking to our patterns. That's all part of it too. Our Timmy's in the morning, our, whatever, basketball or football on Sundays. You gotta get out of some shit.
That's what we're saying. With is that self-defeating, trying to get people out of those patterns, or is it more feasible to just use what we have?
Because you know what? This is how it's beautiful. As I'm traveling up here in the conveyance, I'm talking about regret. Everyone has regret. And they're saying they pull 75% of women have regret. Either about a woman, about a man that they didn't have, or about one that they stuck with. You know what I mean? This is the shit they got going on, right? I'm like, what the? 20% of men educated felt they should have made that move, should have invested, And then they lay it all down by saying, everyone has regret. And I got angry and said, this is fucking subliminal messaging right here, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
That's right.
But then I thought about it, maybe not. Because maybe we do need some fucking regret. We gotta have tried some shit though. But I do agree, you see what I'm saying? I'm just saying that goes to both ways. But anyways, I'm more about, what were you gonna say?
Regret is nothing but a waste of energy, a waste of time. You can sit down all day long, every day, I should have done this, I should have done that. Screw it. We all did something we shouldn't have done. We all didn't do something we should have done. Never mind all that, and never mind all these other people that we gotta uplift. Let's uplift ourselves and continue with the movement.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. Those who are gonna come in are gonna come in. Those who ain't coming in, ain't coming in. Because you know how many people been here for the last 12 years? This week would have to have an auditorium to fill out the people that are coming on.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna take this and understand that this is the solution. There ain't no other solution. We've been black, we've been colored, we've been this, we've been that, we've been everything under the sun. And where the hell are we now? We're killing each other in the street. That's where we are, because we're black and colored.
And anything that is not for your salvation, you will see fiat going towards, it will be right there, mainstream and very easy to access. So
That's all we start. We're doing the work right now.
Yeah.
Cujo's been doing this work. Omar's been doing this work for a long time. Some of these more have been coming here for a long time, and they've been putting in the time, the energy, the teachings, and the fiat. Because the prophet told us, I need finance, and I need it badly. And we Well, I'm not gonna generalize, because I don't know everybody's situation, right? 99% of us have the fiat. But it's like Omar was saying, we gotta go to Tim Hortons, we gotta go here, we gotta give it to everybody else
Except ourselves.
except ourselves. We could have had a big old piece of land someplace with a ranch and God knows what else with all the number of people. People were putting in $50 a month from that time.
Yeah.
We'd have been doing okay. But our problem with our people is we're still thinking black, and black people think black people can't do anything. Black people always fail. We're never gonna get anywhere. They're gonna rip us off. I don't trust them. That's how black people think. And if that's how you wanna think, then no, you're not gonna get anywhere. And yes, you're gonna have regrets. But if you start understanding what it means to be a Moor, then you just do, you put in what you have to put in. You're not worrying about somebody else. You know, people always talk about leaders. What leaders? You're your own leader.
Mm-hmm.
We're all our own leader, right?
That's the key word that you said though, is like Moor, is that was Moors, right? Like we're being black to them, they're Jamaican, they're Guyanese, they're Trinidadian, they're St. Lucian. So St. Lucian or the same kids they speak, they're under French colonialism, and then the Jamaicans and the Trinidadians are under the British colonial system. So the religion, the way of thinking is just different, the language is different, the Creole speaking is like that. They don't want to come together because now they're playing Negro, Black, and color.
Exactly.
It's that.
Well, look, where, again, who has more organizations than we do? We have the organization for every island, maybe more than one for every island. This association and that association. And they do things, probably good things for the community.
Yeah.
And they get together and they do. I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of where you come from. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, sometimes you gotta let the tribalism go. You know what I mean? Let it go.
Yeah.
You know, we're all together, just like we were talking about, the women gotta do this and the men. No, we all gotta do it. It ain't about the women. It ain't about the men. We all fell. And I'm not interested in who fell first and why.
Yeah.
You know, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, all we do is think of the problem. All the obstacles, oh my God, I can't do it. It's never been done before. Okay, well, that's you. I'm gonna do it. Come here.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Mocha.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Our land is there for us. On the way here, what did I say? What did I say?
You said a lot, Miles. What
What did I say? What did I say?
Tell me what he said.
What did I say I was gonna manifest?
Oh, yes. You're gonna manifest the that lotto ticket.
No. I said I was gonna manifest a parking spot right in front.
Oh, yeah, you said that too. You see, boy, you catching me up. That's why I say you just say it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's in the context of what we're talking about. You know, I said I want a parking spot right in front of the temple.
Yeah.
I don't need to run around the block and all that. There should be one here for me.
Right.
And there it was. Man was just pulling out. And it's
It seems to be good on those small things, eh? We need them on some of the
that's
bigger
my
ones.
point.
Yeah.
That was my point.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I'm not even talking about the lottery ticket. I buy it because maybe one day I'll win, but I'm not putting my hopes and dreams on it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if you can manifest the little things, you can dang well manifest the big ones. You know?
And to get
There's going to be 100 people that are going to tell you
Yeah.
how bad it is,
Yeah.
how hard it is, and how heavy it is, and we've been slaves. Okay, you go ahead and keep being a slave. I don't want to. You know, and it's what do you want in life? You know, really.
No.
We have what it takes to do what needs to be done, and it doesn't take a whole army of people. You take the people that you have and you build. And we've been building, and we're going to continue to build. And all this talk about, well, how is it going to work? And will it sustain itself? Yes, it will. But you start with what you have, and then, like that movie, I always come back to the title of the movie, if you build it, they will come. It's that simple. Our people want to see something.
Yeah.
And when
Look
we
at
have
me.
something to show them, that's when they're going to be more interested and more committed.
I feel like one of the words what I was important was show them, because even when the prophet was saying the press is one of our greatest weapons.
Yeah.
A lot of the youth nowadays, like it's a big gap in generational knowledge, because like, you know, that's your generation. Y'all didn't, from my point of view, I didn't see a lot of y'all sheltered. You know what I mean? A lot of y'all went outside and explored life. A lot of youth nowadays, they didn't even walk to school by themselves.
Huh.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of youth nowadays we're super sheltered. You know, so this manifesting type of stuff. I mean, I get it because I walked to school when I was younger. I had adventures, but most of these youth did not. They grew up in front of the street. They grew up with their mom telling them, "Yo, stay inside." They didn't know why, but they just knew, "Yo, stay inside, stay inside." Yo, I want to go outside. Doesn't matter. Stay inside, stay inside, stay inside. So they just think inside, inside, inside. We kind of need more and more to kind of step up and kind of show like the positive side of things instead of kind of focusing on the negative. On like, you know, because we kind of focus on the fear, that's constantly what they're gonna see. You know, oh, this is what, like, you know, like, oh, this more got pulled over and this happened to that more. But even when GS was posting, I forgot which more, but so I'm like painting more. I forgot his appellation.
Yeah.
But he just had a whole exhibit. Him with his feds on, just doing stuff like that. Like people need to see more of that. Like, you know, this again, Prophet said, I need finance and I need a baggie. All these youth need finance. They hear the good stuff because they hear that from their parents all the time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, you need to fight for what's yours and do right and all that stuff. They hear that, but they fight for what's theirs every day and they get punched in the face. And you know, they're like, well, I'm not gonna do that now because I got punched in the face. It's
the learning curve is different.
It's a different learning curve, like for different generations, because this generation, a lot of it is super sheltered, very sheltered.
It is. I agree with everything that you said, because I got grandchildren. You know, they are completely different from me. You know, they come up in this whole technical, what do you call it, social media world, and that's their world. You know, they might not know the country, but they know what Kim Kardashian is. Well, you know what I mean? This is the kind of thing that they focus on, and that's one of the reasons why we have the Moor school for the children, so that there's some place that they can go where they can get a whole different perspective on life, because they're not going to get it out here. Trust me, you're absolutely correct. It's the battle that we have to fight right now, as far as the young people are concerned, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge because that system has got that, and they get it from the time they're babies. The first thing these people do when they get a baby is they run up and get them a tablet. You know, and give them a phone. You know, stuff like that. That's not what you do.
100%.
You teach them how to read, you talk to them, you sing songs, you do things with them, and you teach them how to create, not just go on TikTok and imitate somebody. It's awful. It really, I don't like it, you know, and I got my rules. When they come over to my house too, I tell them this is what's gonna happen. Take it or leave it, because if you ain't gonna do it, don't come over. I'm not your mother, I'm not your friend, and we're not doing things that way. We're gonna do it my way. You don't like it? There you go.
And to add on to what you're saying, I think because we got placed in a non-status or classified as black, we want to acquire so many things that we attribute to different levels of status. So the money, you know, is going to provide us with Jordans or some type of clothing, jewelry that puts some type of feeling of nobility or some type of superiority over the person that might not have gotten that or acquired that. Right? And we live through that without not knowing, like, well, being a Moorish American is our title, is our status, is our nobility, right? All of these things are encompassing of the things that everybody's chasing. That's just a fiction of what doesn't even what doesn't even really matter. Not gonna add any value to you or anything like that. Your children, you know what I mean? Like watching Kim Kardashian and all that stuff like that, and trying to look how celebrities. I see more black people concerned with how public figures and celebrities live than anybody else. Any other nation. The Asian people that come in, the South Asian, East Asian, South Asian, they don't watch TV. They don't put their kids in front of TV. They're like, you're going to school, you're going to become a doctor, and that's
yes.
Middle East, you're a chemical engineer, and this, that, and you're like, that's it.
But let me ask you what you're saying though. They do have their own celebrities, but they know that they're not going to pay attention to the celebrities over here.
Sure.
Because they know that this is a whole different ballgame.
They built the Bollywood or
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
There's a lot of different foundational things that you'll come here with if you come here from a place that is closer to the way that our ancestors lived. Like if you're coming here as, you know, like you said, Southeast Asian, I'm just thinking of one of my sisters, for example, all vegetarian, right? That's a huge thing. You're already coming here
Yeah.
eating properly.
Yep.
You don't fall for the McDonald's and all the other stuff
Mhm.
that's already here that has no value. So as you're growing, you have this clarity in your body already that you can keep building. You're not worrying, you're not with the dis-ease in body, with the things that we need to deprogram ourselves with, on average, when it comes to the things that we've lost that our ancestors have taught us.
And then I feel like then those people become a part of the game now because we're not into some of these things now because they're seeing how the way things are moving now, and then it's like, well, I'm gonna maintain that what you're saying, but at the same time they kind of just gotta blend in with what's going on because the way we're moving is just living.
And remember too that when you're dealing with the people who are some other nation that they come here and then they become part of the mechanism, right? If we look at like remember back in high school, the Sri Lankans, their name was so long they cut their name on their identification. That's a straw now that they're able to use. You know what I mean? They're not concerned about the debt of it or whatever like that, because hey, if worst come to worst, they just go back to where they come from. You know what I mean? And take the stuff that they got here with them, right? And go right back.
100%. I remember growing up with this Korean girl, like way back in like elementary school. I remember she said her name was Kelly. If she is watching this, shout out to Kelly, but but I remember because I remember she said, "Yo, just call me Kelly." I remember asking her, "What's your real name?"
Yeah, like what's
I just call me Kelly. But I'm like, "Yo, look, we all asked her, but like, what is your real name?" She said like, I was like Fan or something like that, like some Korean name.
Yeah.
And we just asked her like, "Yo, just call you that name. Like, why not?" And then she said, "My mom said that's my English name." Right? And then when I get older, I'm
my
over
slave
here like,
name.
Oh, that's a straw. Like, I
Yeah.
get it.
But on Saturdays, she goes to Korean school.
Yeah,
100%.
Okay?
yeah,
And everybody that comes here wants to blend in to make it easier for them. You mentioned the Sri Lankans shortening their name. The Jews all came over here and they all took it from Schwarzkopf to, to whatever.
Mhm.
They all shortened their name. They all Christianized, in quotation marks, their names because that's what they wanted to do. But they're holding on to their culture
Oh yeah,
behind closed doors.
Holden.
Everybody does. Everybody has a nationality. Everybody has a culture. Everybody's got their traditions. They do the Kelly thing because they want to come in. Her mother wants her to be able to go to school and not be picked on and
Yeah.
be able to fit in and make friends and all that. But she's not going to let her forget where she
Came from.
Nobody else forgets where they came from except us.
That's because we don't know as well.
Exactly.
Black has no connection to any landmass.
Mhm.
See, that's why when I got into this and I realized, that's why they're killing us because we're saying we're black.
Yeah.
And if we're not claiming our nationality and our status here, we're giving them rights to do whatever they want to us.
But adding to that, I feel like the karma gets worse on us because we kind of see it and we don't really want to do anything about it.
Absolutely.
Because even this whole U.S., Canada, Mexico alliance, why are the islands kind of taking suit and be like, they're linking up? All right, we should do our own alliance. Because where are all the cruise lines? Where are most of the cruise lines at? You guys can't come over here without paying the extra tax.
Gonna have to
You know what I
go
mean?
to Alaska now.
Exactly. 100%. Exactly. You guys, these type of things.
They don't do it because they're already under the thumb of the IMF and all that jazz. So, it's not just the islands, it's everywhere, including Africa. I'm not trying to get into the gay straight argument because that's not what it's all about and we're all people. But a lot of those African leaders were saying, no, we don't have no gay business going on here and it's a criminal thing and blah, blah, blah. Now they're capitulating because they're getting some of their debt, relieved. Exactly. So there's a whole bunch of reasons for everything, but it has to do with the whole thinking of the people, of the so-called leaders. I'm sorry, I'm not a very political person. I don't understand a lot of the things that go on like that. But if you have a continent where you've got everything. Everything you could possibly imagine. You got all the food, you got all the minerals, you got all the gold, you got all the diamonds, you got everything. Why the hell, and it's a huge continent, but look at, no one should be starving, there shouldn't be any wars, but there's no cohesiveness there, and it's not just so-called Africa, it's around the world, as far as our people are concerned. That's just the way it is. We don't want to get together because we're all divided into our own little camps.
I think that's part of the modernity and the indigenous people that want to stay as, you know, to the tenants of the land.
And colonization too, right?
Yeah, but it's also because we're so vast and so different. Not like completely different. Everything's different, right? Everything's been made different by a lot. But if you talk to someone who's from China, that's one landmass, right? There's some similar people, but we're from China, we're from Japan, we're from Ireland, we're from everywhere.
Right. But I'm saying that we weren't putting values on a lot of the things that we already own.
True.
They started to create.
The way that we looked at possession was different.
Yes. So whether it was a mask or a crown, whatever, we had the goal, we had, you know, resources, the schools and things like that, and then they came in and said like, oh, you know, took the knowledge from us, took, you know, probably traded some clothes or whatever for, you know what I mean, some artifacts, books, whatever, and then took it back to their people and sold it for triple the price. And then they started following that wheel. So then, you know what I mean, they're coming back to us getting more of those resources and we're looking at it from.
These more.
So I see a little bit of the conflict between wanting the modernization of how things are and then trying to live as, you know what I mean, we should be living according to the land and according to the profit. And, you know what I mean, how, you know what I mean, I guess kind of separate from what they're doing already. And that's where I feel like our people are just kind of getting tied into that. They're like, you know, well, I already have all the money, I already have the jobs, I already have this thing, what could you guys do? You're already used as workers for so long, and other people, why do I want to go and build something else for somebody else now? You know what I mean, I already have a house. But, you know what I mean, you gotta go work for that person tomorrow. And then you gotta go put your kids through their school. You know?
But it's really, but a lot of it really does boil down to accountability. The difference between a lot of other nations and our people, we're constantly hoping for someone to come help us and save us. The other nations are not caring about, you know, who's coming to save us or help us or anything
Saving
like that.
themselves.
Yo, we're broke over here. Yo, we're gonna go work together at some spot, and then we're all gonna build up some house, and we're gonna keep doing that and whatever. I always use the Hindustanis as an example. They went over in Brampton, they did that. You know what I mean? But it's our people that have this whole like, yeah, but they're supposed to give us this. You know what I mean? Where is us this? Like, oh, we did this, but what are you guys doing? It's like constant focus on somebody else. What about us? You know what I mean? Like, and it kind of shows a lot in our families. You know, like there's a reason why a lot of youths are in jail. They're doing 25 to life because they tried to ask their parents for help. We can't get no damn help. They got shooed away because stories are on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, like other nationalities, they don't do that stuff. Yo, when their child needs help, they're on it. You know what I mean? Because they know that's the future. We kind of treat our children like in a sense, yo, it's kind of sad to say, but it's like we kind of turn into slave breeders. Like the clubs and this, all that stuff. It's all slave breeding things.
Pure chaos, no organs, and no order.
Right. Like most of our people are really focused on, like a lot of us are focused on sex. So this whole passport
That's because that's what's been pushed. You're trying to get to your lowest level of communication. We're all falling for it. Producing in a lot of cases sometimes a lot of things, out of that are creating more problems. Right? So anyways, but long and the short of it, from my perspective, again, where I see that we need to focus is why don't we look at groups that are working and how they're working well and what things we can do to emulate those things. That's what I see. Why don't we look to whoever, how are they doing those things? Because some of the stuff I think we talk about is even though it's not profit setting, financing needed badly. That could be you being the profit being whatever it was for the movement of the nation, but ultimately at the end of the day, we're looking at getting back to national principles. The reason why most people end up lauding their own nations is because they got a place to go back to call their own. The Japanese go back home, they go back home to their Japanese McDonald's.
Yep.
When the Filipinos go back home, they go back home to the Jolobia. And the issue is that's because they've got something that's theirs. We're looking to try and get that. That starts with where the grounding, the land. We have been spelled. That being spelled has been cast on us to negate the aspect that this is our land. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about a theory where they talked about how concrete was really bad for the earth.
Yeah.
And what it does, because it doesn't allow the earth to breathe.
Yeah.
Right? So we're here living on moldering, rotten land that's ours. And they're feeding off of that, feeding off of us. So what do we do to reverse that, as an example?
We do exactly what we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of us, well, as an idea, I feel like we need to make people feel like nature is beneficial, like both financially and spiritually.
The disconnect from nature. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this too. I even posted about it. Like, yo, we all went from, most of us living on a ranch, living off the land, living off of what we made, riding on horses, having to take care of the horse because you can't just ride a horse. You have to maintain the horse. We're very connected to just nature's natural course. We just, like Omar said, we just kind of just disconnected. It's like, how do we get back?
A lot of things are definitely heating up and making that more of a concern, because when you look at like the $13 lettuce of like 2 months ago or a month ago or something like this, and the price of produce and things like that, when it starts to hit people's pockets, they're gonna start to really think, wait, I could have a seed, I could plant this, and I could have the same thing for what? A fraction of the cost? That's what we need the land for. That's what it's here for.
100%. Like, even like I'm looking at the city right now, like all these weed stores popping up. Oh, like let's be real, it was mostly Yardies that ran that thing. Like, that ran that whole thing. They just popped up and just just took over. And then
They're like Starbucks. They're on every corner. It's like, yo, bro, you can't walk across the street. There needs to be one on each side of the street.
Yeah.
But you're really taking it in because they deal with people who have land. You know what I mean? They have a spot to grow it. We didn't focus on that. We kind of forgot about that because we were too busy being the
consumer.
right? In the sense like being like the distribution center. Because because it's back in the day, I can talk about it. Even when I was selling them, I was most likely just a distribution center. I was constantly just getting in, pushing out, getting in, pushing out, but I never grew anything. If I started growing something,
It's a
I
different
could have sold.
relationship.
Yeah, I could have sold whatever I wanted to for whatever price. I would have got as many customers as I wanted, but I had to work within my price and I had to work with whatever I could get.
And I feel like that's where the benefit of they're then building like a standardized system of what is deemed as sells for what's for sale or whatever, so that way there's some level of quality that you can reach for, you can buy, purchase, right? Do you want the President's Choice version or do you want the brand version, the Kellogg's or whatever, right? And then these big box companies and stuff like that, and but you still got like Burger King, got McDonald's, all these people competing for each other because it still creates good competition in business. But then where it's us, we want to be the gangsters, we want to cut people under their legs and go and kill somebody and take this corner street and take these people here, right? And then even with the Italians were organized and they came in and said, no, we're going to regulate all the gambling and stuff like that. And then the government took over that system, right? And said, because these guys were doing probably some bad-minded things, people extorting people and all kinds of criminal activities, right? So I guess if we're supposed to be the government, we still got to regulate our people to that effect while we're still building those things up. And then, it is a lot of work and it is a lot of manpower to build that kind of systematic economy for us to have like a meat farm or just like an act.
Just a farm.
And just a farm, anything, right? People you need to produce.
Yeah, production. Simply production.
Yeah.
Production.
Because I'm sure
Put it in the thing.
Everybody will be out there tomorrow trying to put in the work and
Put it in the
That's what will happen.
You see,
To the
How much more?
as we all talking is the indoctrination that we got. Like you say, we always, for us, the Moorish people, the Moors, we were programmed to say, to believe or to think somebody is coming up to the sky to save us.
Mhm.
Those other nations, they didn't have that. They know they had to be for self. And like in the village, like those people that we will say, they will call in the Caribbean or in Guyana and so on. The people that live in the village, the people in the city say they're backward. Right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have the mentality of what they thinking of somebody coming to save them. They have to farm the land, do it themselves. And they were doing everything for themselves. And then when they left now and say, they tell them, come to the city. They go to the city and they get stupid too. And they come back and bring the stupid they say. So now, like for me, the farmland is there. This is land, as I tell people, two old people. When I meet them, they were old. A grandmother and a grandfather. And I never pay attention to it. But I post a picture and I didn't realize. I stand in here and there's 120 acres of rice field. Two individuals used to do that. At that time, when I went, it didn't register to me, but now I'm woke, right? And I went down to the cedar rice field, and now one son is doing it with a nephew, and nobody to help him. And then is when I realized, I say to him, and they used to go from there, they go to the factory.
Yeah.
And they pay a couple of the guys, the big strong people in the village, and they come and kick the party. And then they do everything. And like if you want the brand to feed your fowl, you come, you take the brand out so they don't have to move it. You come and move it.
Yeah.
You need to find rice to feed something, you move it. You come, give me a $5, take what you want. Because that's of no, not really of no, it doesn't have use to livestock. Right? And they take and they move it, and someone saying, when I go home, the normal factory is a big piece of concrete slab. There's no risk kick the party. You go in the village, nobody, all the coconut trees are down, nobody plants back a coconut tree. And you see what I'm saying? But they're looking, now those ones are looking for you that they think you fly in the plane, you got money when you left in that plane, money was going in your pocket. So now they're looking to you, and I'm telling them,
Yo, you have everything right in front of you.
you got everything
What?
in.
Yeah.
You. I said, I cannot afford to eat like how you eat.
Yeah.
You go.
All you gotta do is put it in the ground.
Fish.
Yeah.
Boop, boop, they pull up the fish. As we used to go in the trench and field, and sometimes we pull out a snake.
For real.
They do. So my cousin was telling me, calm down. These guys in home are farming.
For real. That's the same thing that you're saying. With the
He said,
seclusion.
these guys, you see, they go far. They never see land. They don't know for farming. He said, you guys were lucky to see it. That's why you were speaking like that. He said, these guys are gone. Some say, but we got to bring them back home. As you said, we don't want to
If we had that answer.
something from the sky. And we believe that.
Yeah.
Even though people are telling you, where you come from. So now if your older is telling you something coming from the sky, well then you buy that. So and then for the thing, people are denying their nationality, who they are.
Yeah.
So how can you get when you deny your ancestor?
Yeah.
You know,
They don't realize how powerful that hex is that they put on themselves.
That's a fact.
Of denying their ancestry is really denying their ancestral assistance in
That energy
their
that's
existence on the
supposed
earth
to come
plane.
and- You know, sometimes you see something come, it's an ancestor whispering
Yeah,
in your ears.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like I took, and normally I help out my cousin them, you know, and so I took her to do laundry. And the sister have on a hoodie with black something on it. I said, "You black?" She, "Yes." "Man, I show you." I'm like, "No, man, you look copper tone." I said, "You don't look like a hoodie you have on, right?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "But you have a nationality, you know." I'm like, "But how I get her?" I say, "What is a noun? And what's the adjective?" And then she like, no, she like, no, she kicking herself in her head. Yeah. No, you realize what they are doing. And then I say, this is Negro History Month, right? I said, not black, Negro. Because we don't want to say the people that were given different labels. I said, go study Noble Juali. And why they don't talk about Noble Juali. You know, and I just dropped 2 gems because, you know, and she was like, you can see she like, all that she was stopped.
Yeah.
She was like,
Everything's turning over on the
yeah,
center or
and then I
something.
said,
Take off her
take care of my sis, you know, and I say, when you learn yourself, study yourself some more. And then when you think you know yourself, study yourself some more. And then she, I left her like this, you know, she was putting the clothes to dry and she was like she wanted to come and I know she wanted to ask, but you know, I said, no, I say go, study Noble Juali. I say it's Negro month, not black, it's Negro month, use Negro, don't use black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texting her friend, some weird guy came up to me some more.
And I was telling her she might be gone, but this little child you have it.
They're gonna remember that.
Yeah.
They're gonna remember that. Even on that, like real quick, even on that level, I remember in my neighborhood, there's one little youth, let's say little, like he's basically like, yeah, he's my friend's son. So I see him, he had a black ball. I just ask him, I'm like, yo, what color is the ball? He just like, look at it, just like black. He's like, yo, okay, so I put it at his hand, I'm like, yo, what color is this? You know, he's light skinned, so he's just like, so he's just like, I don't know, like caramel or something like that. Like caramel, and you say black, right? He's like, okay, so I said, is your skin the same color as this ball? And then it's the same thing you said, where it's like you can see it in his mind. You just kind of like,
thinking about it.
Yeah, like bulb, that bulb, you click that switch.
It's like that light
That's what
flicker.
you have to keep doing. Click that switch.
100%.
Mhm.
100%.
This one's just, you know, the copper color. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, closer to a color of a penny rather than
Yeah.
Yeah.
a black square.
Exactly.
You know that you put up with a Palestinian brother on EIG. Look at it, they know over there. And they're telling you over here, this
They're both same. They don't lie.
and they're telling. And you know, I sent it to one of my cousins. They say, I sent it to him. He messaged me back. Because he don't have IG, he's in the farm, you know, but he older guy. See, like, I know this guy. It's just because he can't open it, but he can see the name.
Yeah.
He called me on the phone. I know this guy. I'm like, and this guy, he's like about 60 something, maybe 70 almost. And he called me back to tell me he know the guy. Yeah. So,
Knowledge is power. It's love.
but now I have to tell him that you have a nationality, you're Moor, right? And but to him, because he been programmed like that, I'm like, you know this guy, they know who you are after this.
Yeah.
started to wake up. You know what I mean? And every conversation that we've been having here, we talked about so many different things.
Yeah.
But in the final analysis, I think I truly, in my heart, know that the solution for us right now is the land, for so many reasons. They're taking the land and they're growing garbage, and they're selling it to us at exorbitant fees, and they're killing us with the same thing. Their plan is to house us all in the inner cities. They're building condos left, right, and center. They want to take all of the land, not just some. Bill Gates already got all the land in the so-called US. They're buying it up here. So-called Canada got lots of land right now, but a year from now, they might not have that land available. The solution is the land. The solution gives us access to better food. We grow it ourselves. You know what I mean? We can do it. We know how to dig up the earth and put a seed in it. We don't really have to do much else. The sun is going to do the rest of it for us. We always try to look at things, think it's so complicated. I've never farmed before. Every one of us has planted something. You know what I mean? Every single one of us in here, I'm sure, has planted, whether it's a flower, whether it's some herbs, regardless of what it is, we know how to plant something. Yeah, marijuana.
I don't know what I'm saying.
You know?
All right, bro. I know all you have.
It's a word.
I know these guys know. I know what you're talking about.
Right now, your last years, everyone's got a closet full of.
You know, we were talking earlier, and someone mentioned that whatever.
So you guys aren't smiling, they're the ones with the big eyes.
Whatever we have, it's gonna have to sustain us.
Yeah.
And that's something, and it sounded like the person that made that statement thought it would be a difficult thing to accomplish. It's not difficult to accomplish.
Yeah.
You get some land with some structures already on it, and they do sell them like that, trust me. You got a house, you got a barn, you got all these outbuildings. It's amazing what you can do with something like that. You grow some stuff, you have a little farmer's market, you have a little Airbnb, you have some people coming in to do retreats, yoga and all that stuff. Because if people do it, why can't they do it with us? Why can't we do it with us, right? So the land is here now. Just look back to know what's going to happen in the future. Everything has gone up, right? Anybody that's paying rent knows the rent gone up a whole lot.
Yeah.
Anybody that's paying a mortgage knows that your mortgage, that the house that you could have got 10 years ago for $300,000 is now $1 million.
Yeah.
Everything is going up. So if we don't strike while the iron is hot, the opportunity will pass us by. So it's not a question of how
again.
again and again. It's not a question of how are we going to do it. It's get yourself prepared so when the opportunity comes, you're ready. You got the money, you got the fiat, you got whatever it takes to say, all right, we're taking this. This is ours now. The pie is big enough for everyone to get a piece. And we got this mentality that, oh, the Italians got it all, and the Indians got it all, and everybody's got something except us, and there's none left for us. That's bullshit. This country is empty. How many people we got living in so-called Canada? How many? What, 35,000 or something? Sorry, a million. It would really be a
Like 35,000? Shit, lots of land.
In landmass, we are bigger than the so-called US. They have 10 times as many people living there. Anything that happens there is going to happen. Look at them 8 girls that went, black gals that beat up and killed the man just recently on the subway. 14-year-old girls killing people. It's going to get closer and closer to home unless we have our own communities where we decide what's going to happen.
It's happening in them.
We educate our children, we feed them good food, we don't get them vaccinated as soon as they come out the womb and all that other stuff. We have to take it over completely, because if not, that's not going to be like, that happened, and then there was a whole rash of other incidents with young people. I don't know what color the rest of them were. I only know that I was told that these were black girls that did this thing. Okay? So, it's getting bad. Everybody thought, oh no, we're not in the States. It's different there. Everything that happened there, slavery happened here and it happened there too. Right? Everything that happened there is happening here. The only reason it hasn't happened on that scale yet is because we don't have the population. But the population is coming. And if we don't do something, then we are useless. Useless as tits on a bull. It's like, you know, we can sit here talking about cows come home. We can sit here next year in the same room talking about, oh, well, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We're gonna do what we're doing now. We're putting money aside,
Yeah.
which is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So that when the land becomes available at our price, under our, terms, and everything is the way we want it, we can say here, and they have to give it to us. But if we ain't got a pot to piss in, then how the hell are we gonna do anything with anybody?
That's right.
Just put the money away, put it away, every month, keep putting it in.
That's really.
And because they know it's our estate. The people
That's
that
right.
that come in those, and the people that are on the land, they know. So, but we, the Moors know, but the Moors that are asleep have no clue.
That's fine, let them have
No,
no.
but that's the thing. So it's we are the ones that have to move this.
That's right.
As soon as you go like 2-3 hours north, they're happy to see you because they want us to be more involved.
Yeah.
With the land opportunities and stuff like
Thank
that.
you. The land is there.
It's there.
It's there, and it ain't like you gotta pay an arm and a leg for a little 2x4 over here. You're gonna get a good speed. Oh my, when I think about that opportunity, I cry. But I don't cry, because there's no sense regretting.
You
were
talk
talking.
Pomoja?
We put this around Ford.
Pomoja?
Yeah.
I think so.
They got a piece of land up in Port of Lakes, 100 acres. Good organic land too, like the soil, we tested the soil and everything like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know why Pomoja sounds familiar.
It's like a group of African nationals.
Yeah.
They got together with us, and then we just we got to wish the land. It's good solid land, so I just got to see the process of when we got out there and the neighbors that are out there, like they were like, they'd come by and like look and saw like these brothers and sisters just there, whatever, walking land, they had a barn out there, like that, had a couple structures.
So how much did this land cost for 100 acres?
I think they got it for 700.
700 what? Thousand?
So, yeah.
Okay,
So, and
that's dang good.
it's not bad, right? But the land is good. So now it's just a matter of, we planted some stuff there that are gonna take some time to grow.
Yeah.
And then now we're trying to figure out, okay, well, what else do they want to do? Like, do they want to do camping on the land? Just different kind of ideas.
Different,
Because there's so many things you can do, right? And then just,
Once you have the land, the sky is the limit, I know they have all their rules about zoning, you can only do this here.
Yeah.
Screw you, this is what we're gonna do, this is our land.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even have to pay for it.
But even on that level, what the prophet says, brothers from the east are gonna come save us. They're already over here, and they're already kind of doing their whole national standard thing. So wouldn't that kind of help us when it's like wouldn't that kind of help us eliminate the whole zoning thing? Like let's say idealistically, right? We got some plot of land, out in Aurora or something like that, right? Good plants, good soil and all that stuff, right? And they're talking. For one, there's no zoning laws. Like I wouldn't think there's any zoning laws over there in Aurora or something like that, right? And also, us being nationals, us showing who we are, being inhabited, having our principles and all that stuff, it will help us. Like I don't see how it wouldn't help us, like, especially with the brothers from the East being here, because they're already separating from them. They're already having their places with their flags up and doing things how they want to do it, and especially with Moors being there, right? We have our standards. We can't brother, how do you invite the blacks? Yeah, they have black.
They separate. Like even like we trying to say they separate themselves. Like you go up to Lawrence from Pharmacy straight down. That's straight Palestinian area.
Yeah.
Nobody else is Palestinian.
Yeah, like what's like grabs me to talk about new standards. Like they even come over here, they know important to come over here, they're gonna work the job and nobody else wants to work. And then, start getting in, okay, well now we're gonna buy a little
50 of them in one
yeah,
spot.
a little subway in the plaza. And once you're in the subway in the plaza, okay, the next person go set up a pizza shop. Now the whole plaza keep going. And then okay, we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna go buy a house and 17 of us are gonna go be inside the house in this piece of land. And now okay, now we have a little grocery store here. We're growing all stuff on the land. 17 of us living in this mansion. We pay $1 million for $17 or 17 people living in the mansion and go, okay, now we have a grocery. Now the whole plaza grocery, you have a pizza store, you have Subway. It's like
That's their like culture,
yeah.
just together, you know.
And then,
It's automatic. It's automatic.
It's
It's
automatic.
automatic.
Flag on top.
It's
What I was
automatic.
thinking too also is, I don't mean to cut anybody off, but the Hindus are the only ones that are promoting the no farms, no food.
Okay.
I only see the Hindus going like, because you got the Europeans, they got their land, right? They already have their farms,
Yeah.
right? But what are they doing? They're milking cows for milk. What's milk? Like, who wants to drink milk, right? You know,
But beyond that, they're dashing enough.
I've seen that, I've seen that.
Yeah.
so it's like, they're the only ones, the Hindus, because a lot of them are vegetarians, right?
Yeah.
They're all vegetarians, they want beans, they want lentils, they want peas, right? So they're like, yo, you guys don't freaking jump on board. They all, I see a lot of them put it on their gardens, eh? The stickers on the no farmlands, no food or something. It's great. They're the only ones promoting it. Our people are just like, hey, I like every time I see one, I'm kind of like, like, yo, I'm with you guys.
I'm in the campaign. Yeah. I know. The fat boys. The fat boys.
Food everywhere. We have to promote food everywhere.
Survival now. And what you're saying is so
Yeah,
true. It's
it's
a
real.
matter of
Shit is
survival.
real. It's
But
real
they're
right now.
killing us with the frankenfood.
It's real.
It's
It's
that
real.
simple. There's no food really in the supermarket now.
Yeah.
You gotta go far and wide to get a real apple or a real grape
Yeah.
of seeds. This is the reality of it. If
Yeah.
we don't start taking control of our food, like everything else, we're not gonna be around. Our children are not gonna be
Mhm.
around. There's no sense to anything. We have to have our own. They've already taken ours. This was our land, they took it, and they told people to come over from Europe so they can have great big, how many hundreds of acres.
Yeah.
This is BS. They should have given us back this land a long time ago.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what the prophet's mastermind, because he said the brothers from the east are come and assist,
Yeah,
and they're doing it.
yeah.
They're showing us they have the farmland. The Hindus, as a matter of fact, they have so much land out there that they're building this big cricket stadium on Brampton.
For real.
Yeah.
Cricket stadium, and that's only for them.
Don't want to watch that. Come on, brother.
Yeah.
If anything, we should go to them and say, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right?
On top of that too, because a lot of them are realizing, okay, like for us to change things, we also got to change policy. They're putting their own people.
Yeah, they're putting their
as
people in.
MPs. Oh yeah, we want to build a park over here, but they're not gonna do it for us. So let's put our own people in there.
Right.
Vote for a park. Okay, now building a park over there. Or now there's a bus going over there.
And that goes back to the same thing that it's. I think Rennie was saying that that's their culture.
It's automatic.
That's automatic for them. It's not even something they're gonna think about. As soon as they go wherever they go, that's what they're about. Have a base, start bringing people here, pay off all the stuff. Let's say buy a whatever, that's our whatever. Buy a whatever, that's our temple. Buy a whatever, that's our, and they support their own stuff. And 10 years, people have something locked down.
Well, you know what? Sorry. What I noticed quickly is that it's automatic for them, but also they have humility and their ego is not as like over here, the ego.
Yeah.
Like our people, it's like, they want to have their own thing, like,
Yes.
like Pops wants to have 3 trucks, but the son has nothing, right? Certain things, that I noticed with our so-called people, which classified as black, right? So they lost everything, literally. Like, never mind losing the material. I'm talking about mentality.
Yeah.
That was because I was thinking you were saying that they infiltrated us and stopped us from progressing, right?
Mhm.
Because since the prophet left,
Yeah.
everybody.
There's been nothing. Yeah.
So now I'm thinking we need people with that sound judgment and mind to say, look, I'm gonna come in there with you guys. This is what we're gonna do. No, I'm a Moor, but I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you're like, yeah, I'm here at the table now. we need, I'm just thinking because our intellectual ones supposedly, they sell us out too, right? So who is gonna, we're trying to do out here, but we need a foot in the at the table. We need somebody to sit there representing us, but looking like them, but he's like us.
Yeah.
Because those ones that look like us sell us out, but they wasn't working for us, they were working for them. That's how they infiltrate stuff. So I'm thinking, we come and say, no, we need people there too.
Omar, I think Omar had something.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, we're looking at this too small, and that's part of the fact that we're fractured. These people didn't come over here by accident. Some deal was made because we need human resource over here.
Yeah.
As I told people, I think immigrants here get $500,000 to come here now. We're here struggling in this city. Some immigrants come here, probably has to do something with, if you're planning to move here and start a family. But anyways, they're getting $500,000. That's why you see people that don't look like us, barely look like they've been here for a minute, and driving around BMW and all this kind of shit. That's what's really going on inside. The reason why you see some guy who's got a turban on up in their things because they got some deal is made, this guy gets wired in. All those elections and everything, from my perspective, has all been fixed. There's no one in there by any accident, especially not at those top levels, right? That same guy tried to go to Brampton. Didn't they try to chase him out of there? Chase that motherfucker out of there? No, this is a joke. We're looking at this in the wrong way. The reason why they're giving that is because these people are unified and they're about something together. We have that unification within us, within the bodies. We don't have it within the
mass.
Yeah. But the problem is the masses are very easily swayed.
Yeah.
That's why it says the shepherd, the sheep know the voice of the shepherd, right? And then many are called and few are chosen. The deal being though that there are aspects behind this where there are people that will do, like, I'll go back to nature. Tomorrow was to be a Moor, you're gonna get your paycheck. Everyone's a Moor tomorrow. Everyone's following the rules anyways. It's just they're not our rules.
Does it serve us to, like, because wasn't Trudeau trying to give like $250,000 in finances? So does it serve us to even take that money?
Well, all of that money, unfortunately, all of that money, when you start to look through the blue, the small print, it's all done on you signing off on some stuff. I'm not saying that we couldn't go do it as some black guys on some certain level, but ultimately, you also have to then judge what you're giving up for that on that certain level. If the $200,000 goes to get you the land, whatever, at the end of the day, probably the contract made out of fraud will stand the fraud, but you're making it a fraudulent entity. So, you're looking at all those things. But, to me, I've yet to see anyone in here getting any $200,000, even black guys. Where are these black guys? Where are they?
They already got their 200
Well, fair enough. I mean, you
and
can
sold
see
out.
guys like that got their money, and that shit lasts while
Yeah,
it was there.
3 years. Once the money's done, that's it.
So all of this stuff is always going to extract that finance, and they know that because out of dishonor, the money's going to be going dishonorably.
If fiat didn't exist around the province time, then how would, like, finance?
It did exist around the
I'm
province.
saying, like,
Fiat.
fiat.
What they don't tell you behind the scenes is there's a transference of power going on at that point. That's where it all ties into the fall of us as a people, and then them trying to extract. Yet again, you're looking at this as fiat something. They were trying to get the gold out of the thing, and they've taken control of the markets at that point. All of that, I was talking with guys. I was talking about that with guys earlier today. That some of us giving our lives for this. Some guys giving me the hairy eyeball. They're taking us out every day to keep their shit going. Somehow we're nervous because we're talking about taking out one of theirs. Every day they're taking us out. As I said, we don't have to. We don't have to be like that. Prophet told us that. But we got to do something.
Here, I got a question here. How many people do we have right now as far as membership goes?
It's such an amorphous question. I don't know if we want to be talking about it online or whatever.
Well, no, okay. Well, it's, no, it doesn't
I
matter.
know that doesn't matter, but I mean, to me, some of this stuff does matter. Because you know what, ultimately? These guys don't come out there and lay out their plan to us. So, and on certain, I'm not saying that that's what we're doing here.
Okay,
I'm saying-
let's put it this way, if we got 20 people
Right.
that are active Moors,
Right.
there's no reason why we can't do everything we want to do.
Well, you know.
And if we ain't got 20 people that are active Moors, then I don't know. I don't really know what to say.
Well,
Because
maybe
for the
that's-
number of
maybe
people
that's
that have
what-
come through the temple over the last 10, 12, 15 years.
Cujo was just talking about that today, though.
All right, so I'm sure we must have 20 active Moors in the temple right now.
But the activity is in degrees.
Yeah,
Like it's not 100% activity stream from all these Moors.
I hear you.
It's in different brackets or whatever.
Well,
So
you
it's
know,
not gonna have its full,
here's the other side of the
you
coin.
know.
If we don't have 20 really active Moors in the temple right now, then we're doing something wrong. It's that simple.
Well, I don't even think it's us. It's the ones who aren't doing anything is the
Well, you
problem.
see what I'm saying? Now we get into this end around sort of theory, right? Whose fault is it?
If I'm not.
No, but it's not the ones who are doing something, because the ones who are doing something are doing something.
Exactly.
So it's the ones who are doing nothing
As
that's
the
that.
people at the
that's the
helm,
problem.
maybe gotta just do something a little bit different. We talked about doing something different
Yeah.
earlier on.
You know.
We gotta do something a little bit different than just tweak this thing a little bit. Because we have to make things start moving. I like Omar's idea earlier of having goals. Year-end goals. Every single year we should have some sort of a goal.
Yeah.
We should have
Yeah.
quarterly goals, we should have goals for half the year, we should have year-end goals.
Yeah.
Something concrete, something in writing, something that people are, some kind of expectation. I don't care who you are, whether you belong to the Masons or the Elks or some religious group or whatever, there are expectations from members, right?
But making concrete goals, then you're having that communal manifestation also.
That's right.
Well, yes.
You know, but-
those are certain things that unfortunately, I'm hoping you've been here long enough to know it. To me, there are certain things about this that must have to do with the spell, that create, the aspect that this thing isn't.
Yeah, and your response to me is looking at the problem. My response to you is looking at the solution. I don't have time for problems anymore. We had problems. We've been having problems for centuries. Now it's time for solutions. None of this, well, it didn't work and last time and they're not doing this and we're not doing that. Let's just do what we gotta do. And let's find different strategies to get people active.
I like how you're thinking.
Because, a lot of the times people are involved with an organization and they're not fully involved because they think, okay, well, there's class on Sunday, but I can't make it this Sunday, or there's this happening, but I can't make
This is
it.
Super Bowl, what are you talking about? I'm not.
Well, there you go. Where are our priorities? A lot of the times people think, well, even if I don't go, someone else is gonna hold it down. That's what's happening. Well, no one else is gonna hold it down. You have to be there. This is what we expect of you. We have our dues policy. Everybody's supposed to be paying $25 a month. We're not asking for an exorbitant amount. We're not saying, go and break the piggy bank. We're saying, can you come up with $25 a month as a nation? Imagine if we had 100 people in here paying $25 a month. It would be okay. But I'm not, and again, I don't want to generalize and say everybody can afford $25 a month because I don't know. There may be people who can't. All right. Well, if you can't, can you afford 10? You know what I mean? Can you do something for your people? And let's not always wait for someone else to do it because it's not always on someone else. It's on each of us. It's not on some leader. It's on each of us to do what we can.
It's interesting you say that because even with Mojo, they try to take this road of we're building an online system where you can sign up for memberships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And try to pay for the membership
Right.
rather than just straight up asking for the dues because they were so against the whole, we don't want to be like a collection seeking kind of people in a church or something like that. And I was trying to tell them, no, it's the fact that we're trying to pool our resources together.
Right.
And if you don't understand that, I don't see what the issue is if we're coming from a national perspective. But, just him trying to gather, I guess, Black people as a collective you wanted to take that approach. Where I think just us being a national, we should already have that focus, like this is what we're doing, because this is the purpose of why we're doing it.
A, and B, that's the way the prophet set it up. And you know, some things we can churn it around a little bit, but certain things we should have, these are just some things that should be standard. This is what, and that's just the standard. We're not even talking about the extra that we can ask people to do. But this is something that we should all be doing, you know, and something that you find the finance. You know, I gotta go and do an extra couple hours at work or something like that. How important is it to you? You know, really and truly, how important is it for you to be, a real contributing member in this thing? You know, but I'd like to hear more about these people that got the land. I would seriously like to hear more about them because now, did they get any government funding?
I think they're trying to apply for more government funding because what initially happened was that they took care of the down payment.
Yeah.
And all was pulled in.
Yeah.
So they distributed shares out of the funds that we put up.
Right.
And then now it's just a matter of trying to pay the mortgage on it, right? Which I think 2 or 3 people are taking care of the bulk of that. So now it's just trying to get funding from the government or wherever to just try to pay the rest of it off.
Well, you see, I like that. I like the approach of the people. How many people, if you don't mind?
I think there's a big number, but the people that invested, I think we're around 20.
You see what I'm saying? What 20 people can do?
But I also like how accessible they've made it. When you make something like a subscription where it's automatically coming from a bank account or something like this, a lot of us have those already. And it's not something that we have to manage, and it's something that comes out, you know, every single month, and then you don't really think about it. Those funds are already just taken. And I do understand too that doing it actively and sending it, you know, is a good way because then you are reassessing, reaffirming the importance of it. But I do like also the passive way of how it could just come out.
I have no problem with that. My whole thing is with this initiative that we have now, with putting aside more funds in order to have something happen sometime down the road in terms of land or getting land or assistance in getting the land, that's perfect. But, and anybody who's been around long enough can tell you how my thing is. My thing is all about the dues. It's $25 a month, and it's the minimum that people should be thinking about doing because it's important. It's so, see, when the prophet said he needs finance and he gave a specific amount for people to put in back then, and we came up with the amount that was comparable in this day and age, there's a reason behind it. There's a very spiritual reason behind that $25 a month, or whatever the amount may be, should it go up in the future. It's very, very spiritual. It seriously is. You know,
but you should have seen like when they were asking for the 2,500 initially, just for the down payment, and it's like we had probably 40, 50, I don't know, a ton of people, and then as soon as that number came up, it was everybody kind of dispersed, and then it was could I do payment plans? Could I do this? And sure, they made it they were flexible enough to try to give us that leeway, you know what I mean, paying increments and whatever. But people didn't want to pay up the full amount or whatever. Just asking 2,500, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's small amount to acquire something that's going to benefit us in the long run. So
exactly.
I'm with it. I told her I'm down for whatever. So I get the mission. It's not about me, because I'm only going to be here for a certain amount of time, so I want to be able to leave something here.
That's right.
For my offspring or whoever's offspring that's going to continue this.
But I think Randy was the one that mentioned that too many of our people it's about my thing. You know what I mean? The father's got 3 trucks, the son ain't got none. Why aren't you making something like the generational wealth that the other people have, so that they have something? And there's no better way to land only. Do you tell me one other asset that appreciates? You get a car, it's worth how many? Much less as soon as you drive it off the lot. No matter what you have, you go pay $300-500 for your shoes. You can't make back your return on investment, but the land is always going to go up in value. We're not trying to sell it; we want to hold on to it. But
that's the key. Yeah.
Everything that's going to happen on that land for generations to come.
Tristan here is a real estate agent, so you know what?
Oh, he is, see? Very good.
Yeah, you give me services.
Okay, you got cards, Tristan?
Oh, did you have any questions? By the way, with anything else, or you're good? You, Tristan? Yeah, you're good. All right, good. All right, just check it.
Well, I was gonna say, even with the youth nowadays, well, a lot of youth nowadays they don't even care about life. They don't care about family.
They're very apathetic.
A lot of them have no family structure. A
I
lot of them
know.
have just single family homes. They just know about just getting out of their parents' way. And so they just,
That's all it is.
pardon?
They just need guidance.
A lot of guidance. Like a lot of them, like even earlier when we was talking about it's not just men or women, but it is like a lot of these youth nowadays they need a father.
Of
Right?
course,
A lot of youth nowadays just need a good ass whooping
of
because they
course.
just never got one. But no, for real, they just never got one. So they need someone to tell them, yo, listen, like you're effing up in life.
You could do this. Yeah.
Nobody told them that. They have this participation trophy type of mentality where it's just like, yo, everybody is a star. You know what I mean? Everybody can make it. Everybody is this, and it's like, even when somebody from their generation, like me, is saying that, fam, it's not like that. Like, yo, we have to get together and work. You know what I mean? We don't want to do that because there's too much benefits out there. To do nothing. You know, the same thing with work. It's just like, yo, whoa, we're talking too much now. You know what I mean?
Like work, what's that?
We're talking work,
If you have your children doing anything from the small, because if you tell them never to do that, no one's gonna do it for them. I'm driving my granddaughter and her friend home one day, and I said, okay, well, we'll get some gas. We're at the gas station. She had to hop out and get it. Her friend got told her, my mother doesn't let me put the gas in the car. Really? You're driving, she's paying for everything, putting food in your clothes and clothes on your back, and you can't pump gas? They don't know how. I had to teach all three of my grandchildren how to pump gas.
Back in my day, we had to cheat.
We didn't have no damn car.
There wasn't no remote control.
No, you don't
Get
give
up
them
and
any
shake the
chores
chest.
from the time they're babies, and then you say, well, now they're 15 and I want them to clean their room and they're telling me to fuck off. Excuse my language. But if you don't give them some sort of responsibility from the time they're babies, they're not gonna do anything when they're 13 and they can box you down if they feel like it. No, and they're not worried about any of that stuff because they're gonna call children's aid on your backside. They're entitled. Mom, I want this, and I need a new phone. How many phones do you need? You shouldn't have any phones, number one. That's my thing. I got a phone problem. But these children get umpteen phones. Every time a new one comes out, Xbox 4, Xbox 5, Xbox 6, Nikes, Jordans, you name it, they got it. And the parents are on welfare.
They're doing it just for the distraction, just to keep them distracted.
No,
They can go in.
that's not the way to do it. You start giving them chores from the time they're able, and then you keep increasing it, and you encourage them. You might give them a little allowance. You teach them about some kind of responsibility, because you can't give them carte blanche from the beginning and then expect them to do anything. Bye, sweetie, bye, see you later.
Later, Rosie.
But expect them to do anything when they become teenagers. It ain't gonna happen, right, Rosie?
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about people that have no nationality, no border, you know what I mean, no ancestral connection.
No discipline, no
brats-ups.
nothing.
Just no brats-ups.
No brats-ups.
Just no brats-ups.
They're looking at, oh, we supposed the Europeans giving us all this freedom and just carnal rewards and everything like that. Just that's it.
That's right.
Like I was gonna say this. Like I'm in a program right now. There's this man. Like no disrespect to this individual. There's this man in there. He has an anxiety dog.
A what?
An anxiety dog.
Oh, yeah.
No. A dog.
Oh, yeah,
A dog.
Just to keep it
For anxiety. You see how people have pets in the house because they're kind of like stressed or whatever, right? This man has a service dog
Yeah.
that is for anxiety.
So
This
does
is
the
how
dog do?
spoiled people are
What does
nowadays.
the dog do when he gets anxious?
Well, the dog bothers him. That's the worst part. The dog, like literally, like we're in the class, right? Because like I'm in this bike mechanic program, right? So every time we're trying to do something, I'm trying to ask a question, all there's a dog in the background just crying like, we're just like, what's going on? And this guy always just like, oh, I gotta take the dog out, the dog has to pee, all this kind of stuff. He's like, and they're always talking to us like, oh yeah, we have to accommodate to everybody,
Yeah.
we have to think about everybody now.
Yeah.
It's like this is the era that these kids are in nowadays. Like,
Spoiled brats.
I personally told my mom the other day, we were laughing about it. I said, in reality, they think our generation is spoiled or whatever, and we had it good. Our generation had it bad because we were getting so much that we have no clue what to do with life as a whole. Like your generation, you guys had everything. You guys had everything. I don't know. You say I don't know. I'm just saying that the last generation compared to my generation right now, my generation was given everything and has no clue what to do with it. Versus the last generation, they weren't given that much and made something out of it. You know what I mean? Like a lot, like in my neighborhood, right? Like I see we grew up like the older heads because we didn't have much. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in a neighborhood. The block had one bike. Like 20 youths, we had one bike. If you had another bike, that's another bike for the hood. You know what I mean? Anybody who got a bike, that was for the hood. You had food, that was for the hood. You know what I mean? Ice cream truck came. Nobody has fun for that. But one mom's coming through, everybody getting fun, everybody getting ice cream and all that stuff. Youth nowadays, it's all just, don't chill with those youth, don't talk to those youth, don't do anything. Just come to me and I'll be your everything. I'll give you everything. And they don't have that sense of rejection. They don't have that sense of, you can't chill with the youth number. You can't chill with certain crowds because you're not welcome. You know what I mean? Like everybody nowadays is always so include me. And it's not right.
It's like a possessive
Yes.
nature kind of thing. Like
Yes.
they're creating, especially like I see like a lot of younger relationships, it's like I want to keep you to myself kind of thing, right? Rather than understand like, no, this is a community development. But now that community development, they don't understand it. So now it's like I just want to hold you to myself now.
100%. They don't know what past. They don't know the phrases that we got when we were younger. They don't even know what that means. Like nowadays they don't know what a good they don't know. Okay, as far as isn't even the dating scene, right? When they talk about men are supposed to do this and women are supposed to do that. They don't know the spiritual essence behind that. Where it's just like the woman is the bringer. You know what I mean? Like that's the gate. That's the matriarch. You're supposed to, as a man, provide everything and all that stuff. That doesn't mean that you're less or more.
Yeah.
It just means that you're being a man. Same thing with the woman. Woman's just being a woman. Nowadays, everybody's so messed up in the mind because girls want to do what guys do, guys want to do what girls do. Now it's like grown adults are talking about elementary school stuff. Yes. Grown adults talking about elementary school stuff. Oh my God, you're supposed to stay at home. You're supposed to do this and stay in the kitchen. Well, I want to do this because I want to. No order. It's amazing to watch because it's funny because I'm of this generation and I'm watching my own generation like, wow.
It's it's still prevalent in that generation.
You don't look any older than him.
Well, 1980.
I know.
But anybody that was from like that earlier 80s generation, like you can kind of see where it trickles down to a lot of even just how the frame of mind is with a lot of these relationships because it's like, the trusting and what their parents had or left for them, and now it's a possession thing, right? It's like I want more now, but I want to work less. I don't want to have to work so hard for it now, right? And I want to get somebody else to do it for me.
They never really took it. Remember that Charmin commercial? Like that Charmin commercial? Less is more. You ever heard that commercial? Less is more, but that the Charmin commercial. They never really took that in when they heard that less is more. It's facts because nowadays that's what everybody wants. I want more on top of more. You know what I mean? Ironically.
I don't go to Scarborough Town. I don't go to malls. But I was in a mall, Scarborough Town, one time, maybe 25 years ago, I walked in. I've been there since then, and you know how they have the big billboards when you walk in? I knew this young woman. I knew her from my Buddhist organization. And she was on the billboard, she was doing some ad, and the ad said, I want more. It didn't say I want more of this or I want more of that. It just said I want more. So basically they're telling us you're supposed to always want more. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's out there, you got to have it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you brought up some very, very good points. And this thing is so deep and so wide when you talk about the generational gaps that it's unbelievable. They have done a number on us throughout the last, I would say, we all know the history of how things have gone down throughout let's say the last 100 years, the last 80, 60 years. They've separated the families. We talked about them bringing people into the country. Back in the 60s, when they decided they needed nannies, they went to the Caribbean and they let all these women come. And all these women bless their hearts, they left their children at home, which was very sad as far as I'm concerned. They left their children back home, not all of them, some brought them up, but a lot of the times, the immigration rules wouldn't allow you to bring your children. You gotta come here and look after somebody else's children. That's slavery.
Yeah.
Okay, that's slavery. So your children don't have that connection with their mom. Then they come up here, finally you're able to scrape together enough to bring them up when they're 13, 14. They don't know you. And how are you gonna discipline them at that age? You know what I mean? There's all these things, there's all this stuff, regardless of whether or not you had to leave your children back home, or whether you brought your children up, you were out there working someplace. So you didn't pass on certain things that you had to pass on from mother to daughter, from father to son. All of these things got lost. We don't have rites of passage. We don't have a whole bunch of things that we had back in the day. Back in the day, women had the babies at home. They had a midwife. They knew you don't cut the umbilical cord until after the baby starts, you know.
Right.
We lost all of these things, all of them. You know, we took them to the doctor and then the hospital, and they start shooting them up with all kinds of stuff right out the window. When we were having our babies at home, that didn't happen. But they broke that connection. Then they said, okay, we're gonna take the fathers out of the house. We're gonna put them in jail, and we're gonna do all this other. Oh, they've been doing the sorcery to us for so long. But these are the problems. We have to focus on the solutions. Everything that they did to us, we have to turn it around. We have to get back all of our ancestral knowledge. You know what I mean? It's important because, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it again. If we right now in this room, these generations that we have in this room, if we don't do it, we got nobody to blame but ourselves. And when our children are running in the streets and committing crimes and all this kind of stuff, don't ask why. You got to sit down and talk to them all day, every day. Even if you're not talking the same language, they're going to remember what you said, you know? Yeah, they're going to get, the influences out there are too big. Social media everywhere, and they don't go any place without this. They don't go out anywhere without that phone. This is their world. Everything that has been done to us in the last how many years, and this thing right here, this is nothing but the devil in a little case. Okay? You first they come out with spell check. Then they told you bring your calculator to school. So you don't learn math, you don't learn how to spell, they got Grammarly. You can't remember a phone number. Tell me these phone numbers. You can't, because you're going to tick, tick, tick into your phone and you can't remember anything anymore. Yeah. So this is all part of the, and every time you turn it on or turn on your computer, they're going to bombard you with all kinds of shit that you don't need to know anything about. But they think it's important because we're not giving them anything that really is important. That's what it is. And we have to be the ones to change this whole narrative. We have to be the ones. Yeah. We have to sit down with them day in and day out and talk to them and listen to them and do things with them. So that, yeah, they're going to have these phones because there's nothing we can do about that. They're going to be out there. And even if you don't have a phone of your own, you're going to borrow your friend's phone, right? That's what they're going to do. And everything coming out of this thing is shit. It's garbage. Look, we had this talk on the way over here. They got a book series out called Captain Underpants. Maybe, I don't know if y'all know. I don't like it. You got this principle that they say they need Captain Underpants, and the next thing you know, he's in his underpants. They're normalizing this shit for children. So when your teacher walks in his underpants, it ain't gonna be no big deal. Okay? So they're doing this all the time, all day long, with the TV shows and the books and all the other crap out there. And it's not just the teenagers, it's the little ones that are watching Captain Underpants.
I don't think you can make a direct correlation between Captain Underpants.
Oh, you can.
1 second, because
Not for
once, well, that's what I heard, so that's why I was trying to break that down. Because just as brother said, it's a device, it's a tool.
Yeah.
So just as you could go on here and you could satisfy your lower realm and look at things that aren't gonna help you grow or anything like that, you could also go on here and read the Quran, or you could read something that's going to make you elevate. You can look at someone who's showing you something of how to break down something that's been blocking a chakra, or how to build something in muscle, or anything like that. It's a tool.
Let me clarify that. What I said, or what I meant was, they're getting these ones at this age, Rosie's age, with Captain Underpants, not on a phone necessarily, it's on TV, it's on a computer, and when, the children wanna watch something, and it's in the books, you get the books out in the bookstore, right? Islam,
Excuse me.
this, so basically what I'm saying is, she ain't into all this yet. And their age group may not be into all this yet, but if you condition them with Captain Underpants and SpongeBob SquarePants,
Why is that so funny?
then
Why is
by the time they become teenagers, this is where their heads are at. You gotta know what his children are bright. Trust me, they're in the school. They are bright, very, very bright. How much SpongeBob SquarePants and Captain Underpants do they do? No,
It's even the
that's
pronouns.
It's
Even the pronouns too that they're trying to get them with.
Oh, the they. Well,
I'll still be the devil's advocate. She got that from me. I liked those books growing up, and I thought they were hilarious because they were absurd. They weren't something I would normalize or think as normal, and that's what absurdity is, and that's a form of comedy. So depending on, like I said, like any other tool, it's what you're putting into that mind, that muscle. If it's being evened out with other things that are going to help it grow, then having something that is absurd or is just so, I'm searching for the word, I can't even, what is it when you give stimuli to the brain? Yeah, but there's a word for it when you just feed it junk.
oh. Okay, we get your point.
But I apologize, it's lost me at this moment. But it all depends on what you're doing. It's just like if you're someone who's healthy or anything like that, and most of the time you're doing, 95% of the time, you're doing everything that you're supposed to. There might be some habit or something that you give to yourself that's a treat or something like that, that you wouldn't usually have. That might not be good for you, but in moderation, it's not going to kill you.
No,
Yeah, but you're better
that's
off
right.
without it, though. I was just gonna say you're better off
Yes.
without it, but-
Yes.
I would definitely say that because even things as a joke. I remember back in the day that they had the Popeyes candy sticks.
With the little light on the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah.
That's
We used to-
conditioning.
all the time we used to, with my friends. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's
especially in the wintertime. In the wintertime.
Oh yeah, with this.
That was a tobacco company saying, oh yeah, we're gonna give you candy now. And by the way, I just learned the other day that people are not addicted to nicotine, they're addicted to the sugar in the cigarette. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So they got you with the sugar. in the candy,
those cigarettes
and
have
when you're old
sugar.
enough, they give you the sugar in the cigarette itself, But I just want to respond to your thing about the phone and it can be used as a tool and all that is for something good. You're right, it can. But how many 13, 14, 19-year-olds are going to open up their phone and say, let me do something constructive? Again, it goes back to the parenting and all of those connections that were broken through the generations. Again, if your parents are watching the Kardashians and what's going on in Hollywood and all that, which a lot of them are, then the children are not going on the phone or the thing
To learn. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not interested in world events. They're not interested in any of that stuff. They don't know about that. They're not encouraged to do it. Their parents didn't do it, unfortunately, and they just want fun. They're going to go out and see the latest rap lyrics and the latest TikTok and all that other stuff that there's no value to it. There's no creative value to it. If you create your own rap or your own TikTok, that's one thing, but they don't even do that. They get on and they start jumping up and down like the person's doing on TikTok. How is that, advancing you? It's not.
So you're gonna give thanks for just generations, right? Like you said, just kind of pass down some of that information. Like I give thanks for my parents being so frugal with my lifestyle that they didn't have cell phones till later, right? Because we grew up in that generation where it was still home phones and all that other stuff. So it's like there's still I have two phones, but I don't need the phone because when I'm with my girlfriend or something like that, I'm trying to focus on, or anybody, my friend or anybody, I'm trying to focus on them and the conversation we're trying to have, right? And I would love to pass that down to younger generations and stuff like that to show them you don't need to depend on any of those things because we need to start relying on the natural resources first. And then yes, like I said, how do we apply the technology so that we can advance some of the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah, that's like the brother here was saying about the farming, right?
Yeah. And there you go, that's a perfect example. I'm on this thing, my computer all day, looking for real estate out in the country, and all these videos on farming, all the things you can do with farming. You can farm vertically. You could take down cardboard boxes and put them down, you don't have to dig no hole. And then I'm reading about hemp. Hemp is the bomb.
Yeah.
Hemp will take bad soil and turn it into good soil.
Dopamine.
No, it's all about, there's so much good that you can learn on a computer.
That's a very good product because
Sure
from it, look how much benefits you can do. And
Somebody just said dopamine in the chat.
It's
Right
really-
now. Somebody said dopamine in the chat right when she said it.
Small proof. You can build a house with it. There's so many things you can do, because we were talking about cement and how it's not a good thing. Omar was saying to be living in the concrete jungle. Another part of the cement business is they're going to people in the Indian Ocean and they're driving them further inland because they're taking the sand to make the cement.
Mhm.
They don't need to. Go to the friggin' Sahara and get the sand. You know what I mean? Everything that they do has a downside for indigenous people.
Yeah.
Everything. Don't give me, they never invented anything good. The only thing they ever invented, as they say, was the patent office. You know, and that's the truth. Everything that they bring has a downside. Everything. If you can name something good that they do, then let me know. But I'm saying the land is the answer.
Yeah, because you talk about the cement, they used to use the clay blocks.
Clay.
And they break down, in my country, they dismantle the clay block.
Yeah.
Cement.
Thank
So
you.
cement is just,
I rest my case. They do it everywhere, all over the world. Everywhere they go, they cause destruction. Everywhere, you know, and then the people, if you don't know better, right? Then how are you gonna know in order to pass that information down? So it's up to us to learn these things now. I've done enough talking now, I know this is tired. Let somebody else do some talking.
but it's,
Put it on the record. Put it on the record.
Oh, Lord.
Like Brother Omar said earlier, the prophet said, use like a sheep, and only the what do you say, the shepherd and the sheep won't follow, they don't recognize the sound of the voice.
The sheep will follow the sound of the shepherd.
No, I'm saying they don't recognize the sound of the voice, they're not following.
They're not going there.
So the prophecy.
I think it was his sheep who recognized.
No, what I'm saying in like
In relation
in relation to that is if they don't recognize that voice, they're not going in.
Maybe they're not that though. Maybe they're not sheep, or maybe they're not that type of sheep, right?
They only recognize what, like Drake and Lotto and all these rappers and
it's this and that.
yeah, that's really what they are.
They'll compromise themselves, even though they'll say they're God fearing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no bankruptcy, that's all it is.
Well, and it comes
No
right
more
back to
trading.
the mother.
Yeah.
And the father, if there was a father, didn't have any brothers. Because it goes back, you see. And maybe some of them didn't have it, but they were able to access it in some way so that they could break that cycle and make something better happen for their children. But too many people just don't have it in them. They say, okay, it's too hard, and then they just, and things keep getting worse for us. They keep getting worse. And we're sitting here watching it in real time. Isn't that a?
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Seeing it. Yeah, that's the crazy part. Seeing it
But
happen.
it could get better though. It could get better.
Yeah.
Right?
And not by itself.
No, but through conscious thought and effort. So by
Yes.
recognizing what's going wrong, and like brother here in the corner was saying about looking at other communities and seeing what are they doing right and what can we implement within ourselves.
Yeah.
That's how we can make the future better and make a change.
Right.
And it's back to what you're saying in regards to the land. I think that's where the true wealth is, because when you look at oil, gold, food, all of that stuff from the land, or even when you look at sovereignty and you say these people can go back here or these people can go back there, it's because they have their own land.
Right.
So I think that's a major key.
It is. Thank you.
Then, like, really thinking about it, the fiat in itself was to take us off of that, because we all know money's gold and silver. So at one point, making money was actually making money. We were actually going out to the mountains, and, gonna go mine all that stuff, go to the river and all that stuff, and getting some gold. And nowadays, people say they're making money, but in reality, they're just gaining finance. Because they don't even really, the gold in itself kept us connected to the land. It's like, looking at it, I get why the prophet said, I'm gonna make these Europeans stop thinking, because these people really thought. These people really thought long and hard about that.
Yeah.
Really thinking about that, the fiat really took people away from the land.
Yeah.
So it's like, how could you pay for land for something that's not even land?
Mhm.
How am I gonna,
strategic move, right?
super strategic. How am I gonna give you a bunch of nothing for something?
Yeah. That's why after the prophet, peace be upon him, at the conference in Panama, in Cuba, they had to do this, and then they say, bring me your gold. We have a collapse.
All that.
Bring the gold, we give you people. And the people did it.
Yeah.
So you see what, just like you say, something going on, come, we gotta give you that stuff for you to. Is that what they did then? Because like when you say this and we talk about money, like I remember growing up and the ancestors, what they used to pass down was land and jewelry.
Yeah.
So they give you the paper, and then you see they bring out this pillowcase. And they take it and they say this to you. I was the last to see that. But those ones that receive it never got the message that that was not for them, was to keep passing on.
Passing on.
They sell that.
Yeah.
They
Get the money. Get the money again. Yeah.
When my time, like I'm waiting on my own. But if I ask them when, if no, I saw it. So if I should ask, go, and they used to make some rain. If I felt you with, you would go through the window.
Yeah. The real deal.
It was like
The real deal.
and then they put the diamond and stuff because they want to make it.
Yeah.
So my grandmother, God rest her soul, she's telling my dad, this is to you, and then when you're done, you pass it to this. And she telling him because she take all this little thing there.
Yeah, bag.
Yeah, the bag.
Pillowcase.
The pillowcase bag. So now, what it woke me up to, when they were saying, well, like when my ancestors telling me they came and they buy the land, I telling them no because I understand what we want. I said they didn't buy the land. They already own the land. What they did, they paid the oppressor to go away. So what they did, they said, look, is this you want? Take it, give me back my freedom. So they paid for their freedom. So they would say, oh, the people from this area, there's an area called Buxton, they say they buy the land. The people from Victoria, they buy the land. Because you see the people, you see how the people put their name on it, Victoria, right? And the people from Golden Grove, that's straight up indigenous, they buy the land. Right? No, they put all these things in wheelbarrow because if you say a slave don't get paid.
Yeah.
So if they came with this barrel, what was in it? They say coins. I say it was gold and silver they brought that they had, and they took their freedom.
Facts. Even on that level, when Prophet said 25 cents due. Back in the day, the coins were made of silver. So really taking that in,
It's good.
that was a master play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, come through with 25 cents. Because that's
That
constantly
we were
bringing
bringing
silver.
and it had value. So to you was 25 cents.
Exactly.
But in the copper was silver, and silver was worth.
Yeah.
So because I'm woke now, I'm waking up. I'm completely wake up, but
Yeah,
I'm waking up. Because there's other stuff that I don't know yet. But I'm not gonna stay sleeping. You tell me something, yeah, tell me more. Because I need to open my eyes.
Yeah.
You gotta clean the boo out.
100%.
Yeah. So then, this is what it is.
Any other comments or questions?
As far as the finance, it just takes Morris to just support Morris. Personally, Morris just keep supporting Morris, and to be honest, it's kind of sad to say, but yeah, our people are in a follower mindset. When we support each other, they're gonna see that and they're gonna say, "Yo, what's going on over there?" They're gonna be like, "Yo, I don't know. You gotta come to the temple. They'll come to the temple." And they're gonna make that decision consciously, whether they're gonna be about this or not. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But but the brothers from the East are gonna save us, right? So us constantly proclaiming and declaring, and then everybody else seeing that there's a certain people that just want to be black and they want that. It's gonna help us.
But isn't it
You know what I
amazing? Isn't it amazing? You said with brothers from the East, you're going to say, I was just thinking, Prophet came and saved us. He told us, brothers from the East are going to come and assist. Like, it's like a double, it's like, what more do you want, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's all happening right
What
now.
more do you want? So we just need to, just.
And then another thing too with the financing too is the whatever's created by Moors should be available to everybody, not just Moors to use it or buy it or purchase it or whatever.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? That because everybody else is catering to everybody.
Mhm.
So we should, just like we were saying with, what are other people doing that? Well, they're catering to everybody. They're not just having, Asian cuisine for Asians only. You know what I mean? And then when you check in, they're not even eating cats and dogs and all that.
I've never seen a Mandarin. It's rare I see any Asian people in Mandarin.
Yo,
None of that.
rare.
And that's their spot. You see all the Chinese writing and all that stuff. Never.
They eat at the
They eat
table,
home.
man. They eat at the
They eat
table,
home.
man.
There's these little things that people have to just, they just have to notice for themselves.
They're not even doing that. They're eating vegetables. They're eating
Yeah.
They're like,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Even on that level, look, the brothers from the East are gonna say, right? Most of the vegan stuff is downtown. It's too expensive. Most of us are not downtown. But there's an Osmos open up next to me, now I can get a
Yeah, get a little thing,
You know what I mean?
you got a falafel now,
You know what I mean? So there's
Came for
you.
you.
They're assisting now.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just McDonald's
Yeah.
and Burger King. Now it's just like
Yeah.
some
Alibaba, you go in and you have you.
exactly.
And they like the chicken
chicken,
dog.
yeah. Almost
And
gonna
that's
have
very
their
good for you.
fare up there and everything.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. And they don't question the Martian.
Those who give you a small amount of service.
Be on the door next.
These wars,
It's manifesting.
it's
You just
happening.
gotta do it. That's all it is.
That's right.
We're already doing it. Just
That's
gotta
exactly.
continue. Prophecy is manifesting. Their system's crashing right now. Even with the whole land thing, bro, it's gonna be just a matter of time before people start to realize that this Canadian dream is a dream, just like the American dream was a dream.
Yeah. It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
Wake up.
I challenge people to look up reasons why I'm leaving Canada. And you'll see a lot of these people are starting to see like, yo, I got lied to. That's what they realize.
Yeah.
I got lied to. So when they leave and they try to, let's say they leave houses here, they can't pick that up and go though. And what did the prophet say? I'm gonna leave enough fine buildings for you guys to use.
Yeah, they're gonna
All
run
together.
back home. They're running back home.
Yeah. Everything's gonna be mountains of gold
Tons of gold.
Mhm.
as soon as they leave.
You gotta do right here.
It's a lot more.
Some.
February 19th, tentative town hall date. That'll be right here. March 11th, Ottawa, and And sometime end of March, we're looking for our equinox ritual that we do yearly. I think that's about it. March. Yeah. So 19th, March 11th, and end of March, probably 25th or 19th or 26th or something for our vernal. It's a lot more.
You didn't have to do much today. You just chilled back today.
Yeah, I know. The Moors had their thinking caps today.
And
Yeah, Boca, you got,
don't be
you
surprised.
take
I tell the sister to come here.
yeah,
Yeah, I tell her, you come down.
yeah.
Eglinton and Ikea.
Yeah.
I said, there's a Moorish temple down there. You come down. That's where you should go.
For real,
I said, temple number 5.
for real.
Number 5, because I want, this is it, right? I want to go and
No
get
mistake,
bored,
no
right,
mistake.
and then come and
This love. Peace, Moors. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Mother and Father of the universe.
Allah, Mother, Father of the universe.
Father of love,
Allah, love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah, my protector,
Allah, protect
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation.
my salvation.
By night
By night,
and by day,
by day,
through our holy prophet,
through the Holy Prophet,
Noble Juali,
Noble Juali,
Islam.
Islam.
Peace, more. I
minute,
know, what is it?
Yeah, I go to see you back in Chicago. I saw the thing because Houston.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you guys on Sunday, and I'm like, nothing from
Good on.
on YouTube. I'm like, because I come in at like 12:30, 12 o'clock. I said, nothing. I'm like, what's going on? But I didn't know they hit the YouTube. So when you were talking there, that was good. I like that.
Yeah, man, it was a good session.
Yeah.
Good session. Peace, Mocha.
I want that lion next time, this time next year.